All right, what's up, everybody? Steve Coffey here. I'm with Dillon Stith, MVP state champ last year, NBL player with the Melbourne United, and has a great story. Division III basketball player who made it all the way out here and is now one of the big time players in Australia. If you're in Melbourne, pretty much heard of him. Definitely something of a success story because most people assume, if you're not a Division I player, then you're not going to go very far. But this guy right here has something to share, and I think all of us got a lot to learn from him. I'm excited to hear from him. So, Dillon, thank you for being here today.
Awesome, man. Yeah, thanks for inviting me on the podcast, man. I'm super excited.
Yeah, can you just share a little bit about your background, where you're from in the U.S., where you went to high school, college, a little bit about just your story.
Yeah, man. So I'm from Virginia, and it's funny. I'll do a bit of coaching here in Australia, and I'll always ask the kids, the younger kids, I'll say, "Have any of you heard of Virginia?" Some of them have never even heard of it. It's not the glamour in California. It's not New York. I'm from a really small town, 2,500 people in my town of Bedford, and um, you know, I it's just a sport-driven town. Everyone loves their football, and their baseball and basketball. Kind of, if anything, it's a little bit of a third wheel to baseball and football. But and I played all of them. So did my brother. And my brother, he found a bit of his success with basketball, and I remember trying to emulate a lot of what he was doing in the backyard, and I was able to have a pretty good high school career. It wasn't anything extraordinary, but I was on an unbelievable team with some unbelievable players, and I learned a lot from them. And yeah, my brother went to a school called St. Vincent College, and they were NAIA at the time, so he received a scholarship. Played there, and then he went and played, and he had a tryout with the Raptors. He had a tryout with the Phoenix Suns. So, he was right on the cusp of the NBA. It didn't work out. He had an injury around that time as well. But, he's able to bounce back, and he played 4 years in Spain. And then as he returned to come back, he wanted to help out with his alma mater. So he comes back to St. Vincent. And he happens to come back the same year that I'm graduating high school. And, I kid you not, Steve, I had one school interested in me coming out of high school, Averett University, which is Division III, really small Division III. They were the only school interested in me. And when my brother came back, he convinced his old coach and his school to just have interest in me. He didn't convince him to give me a scholarship. He just convinced them to take a look at me. And I remember my brother and that coach came down to one of my games, and it was a regional final. So, in the State's regional finals, like an Elite Eight game. And I had 2 points. It was like my career low. It was a nice dunk too, but I was so embarrassed, man. I was thinking to myself, that was my only shot. And my brother has a 6-hour drive back with his coach, his former, his co-coach now, trying to convince him that was a fluke game and I'm decent. And I remember, he was able to convince him to do so. And man, I came to the campus, St. Vincent College in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Like I said, about 6 hours away. Skinny kid, never really lifted weights. A little, the definition of a tweener. I was just getting a little bit of height on me. I was about 6'6", but I didn't really have the ball handling. I didn't have the strength to play down low. And I remember when I, got wide-eyed, arrived at campus, and I just put my head down and started to hit the weights, hit the books, and that school helped me, tremendously. Like I said, they were NAIA when my brother went there, but they ended up transitioning to Division III while my brother played pro. But yeah, I arrived on that campus, scrawny kid, and wasn't too academically inclined either, and I fell in love with school. I fell in love with the grind of playing basketball, and fast forward, I didn't start my first game until halfway through my junior year. So, I'm somebody. Freshman year, I rode the pine. Sophomore year, started to show a little bit, show some flashes. In junior year, I halfway through the season, I cracked the starting lineup, and the coaches kind of recognized what I brought to the table in terms of the conference coaches, because I made second team all conference. I was the only player on the all conference team that didn't start most of the games. So that was something I was proud of. And then I knew, I got a bit of recognition, and I'm going to be on scouting reports for my senior year, so I got to make sure I bring it. And my senior year, man, was that is one of the funnest years of basketball in my life. I just remember being the captain and being a guy where guys are looking at me for the advice, the guys are looking for what I have to say in huddles, and it gave me a whole new level of confidence. And I hit the ground running, and I think I was top 3 in points and rebounds, and I was fortunate enough to win a championship back-to-back years there, junior and senior year, and then I was able to be an All-American. So that's something that being at St. Vincent and having my brother coach me, and being a product of such a great environment, that catapulted me to being able to represent the school and my family on a national stage for basketball recognition. And yeah, there's a lot to the story, but you kind of fast forward a bit. I'm sure you have a few questions, but yeah, you kind of fast forward a bit, and I took the long route to get to Australia, and I've been able to carve a bit of a career out here.
Yeah, definitely share your experience and how did you end up in Australia? Everybody's got different stories of how they made it overseas. Some guys attend camps, some guys have agents, some guys go to tryouts. Everybody's got something different. For me, it was, my film from college was seen by a couple coaches, and that was my entry in. How did you end up in Australia, come out of St. Vincent?
Man, talk about an uphill battle. Similar to you kind of have to. You don't have a bunch of doors open. You kind of have to carve your way, and it obviously takes a bit of, as you can vouch, I'm sure. For us, it takes a bit of luck. It takes a stroke of luck, timing, and chance. And I was All-American, so I had these emails coming in. I had a few Facebook messages from a few, real small-time agents saying, I can get you here, I can get you there. And I just finished college, and I wasn't planning on playing pro basketball. It wasn't really realistic for me until my senior year was winding down. So then, as it becomes a realistic opportunity, I'm kind of walking around. I think I'm hot shit a bit. I signed with an agent. I'm like, I'm going to make it, blah, blah, blah. And, I'm sitting back and nothing's really happening. Nothing's manifesting. And, and the agent saying the same thing. He's a pretty lower level agent. He's saying, look, you're Division III. It's kind of hard to really sell your resume, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's fair enough. But if I can show improve, if you can put me there, I can show. And I had a college teammate who he wasn't able to get an agent. So he's kind of in that dogfight of trying to become a pro. And he signed up to a Eurobasket tryout in Arizona. And I remember him mentioned to me, if I make this team, I can go to Australia and do a tryout. I was like, oh man, go for it. That's awesome. I was like, but I got this guy. He's taking care of it for me, blah, blah, blah. And he said, yeah. Then the tour gets canceled in Arizona. For I can't remember the reason, but because they canceled the tour in Arizona, because they canceled the tryout in Arizona, they had to speed up the tryout that was supposed to happen for a later date tour, and that was going to happen in Indianapolis. So they sped that one up a month, and they were pushing registrations and trying to get people to come to Indianapolis. So then I remember my college mate sends me the link, and he goes, man, you got to sign up. It's in Indianapolis now. You got to come with me. And I'm like, man, I'm not going. I'm good. You got to do that. You take care of you. And I remember him just, hammering home, sending me the link. And it was like the second to last day of registration. He goes, look, man, I really need you to sign up because it's only a few hours away now. And we can ride together. And I realized he didn't have a car. So I had a car. And I kid you not, I think one of the main reasons was he needed me to transport him to this place, right? He had the flight booked to Arizona, all that, and it all didn't work out. So now he's like in a weird place where it's kind of close. Anyway, I'm like, yeah, man, whatever. I sign up, and then the date comes where it's time to do it. So we had upped the ante of our working out. We were working out pretty hard, a couple weeks before it. And, we don't know what to expect. We drive there in Indianapolis, which is about 5 hours or so from Latrobe, Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And when we get there, you see a lot of ex-pros and you see a lot of, people older than us, and they're kind of on a last-ditch effort to try to manifest something like this to play pro. Because a lot of people who are our age are kind of sitting back waiting for things to develop, like I would have been doing, right? And we have our chemistry going. We tell the coaches, put us on the same team. We're fresh off of a championship season. We'll make whatever team we're on at that camp with this workout look good. So we're setting each other up. Everyone else is selfish. They're going hard, trying to show off, blah, blah, blah. And me and him, we're playing cohesive. We're playing for each other, and we're having fun, smiling, laughing. And sure enough, we made the team. And then we found out you got to pay a fee. You got to pay your flight. You got to pay an agent fee. You got to do all this to go overseas. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a money grab, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know how it goes. And then I sit back to myself. I remember talking with my mother and my brother. And I just remember saying, look, at the end of the day, if this is the one chance I take and to back myself, if I can show myself in front of a coach or a club, and if I don't get a contract, I don't get it, but I can't say I didn't try.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up, doing some fundraising, GoFundMe, et cetera. We were able to pay the fees, and Isaac Turner, who is that teammate who now has been playing pro here, who some of you guys may know about, whoever's listening. We took that one-way flight, one-way ticket to Australia because that's all we could afford. We said we'll find a way back, but let's take this trip. So took the trip, and my second game here, Mark Brackey saw me play, and he spoke with Andrew Gaze. Remember Andrew Gaze calling me, and I remember, hitting up Google, like, who is this guy? I just thought he was a coach. And I said, oh, man. I was talking to my brother, and I said, Andrew Gaze, they like me, and I think they're going to give me a run. I'm going to get a tryout at Tigers or going to someplace, Albert Park. I'm going to have a practice. And then I began to tell my brother who Andrew Gaze is, and my brother's like, I don't know why you're trying to tell me who Andrew Gaze is. I know who Andrew Gaze is. So, I was the one who was unaware. My brother knew all about him as, one of the greatest scorers in FIBA history. So, but yeah, man, it took a bit of a backwards route, and, I had a little bit of motivation from a mate, and, we were able to make it happen.
Man, you owe Isaac a little 10% cut of your paycheck every year for this. Otherwise, who knows what you'd be doing.
I hope he doesn't see that. I hope he doesn't see this, man. But yeah, man.
Story too. I want to hear what he has to say as well.
It'll be pretty similar, but yeah, like I said, us together at that tryout, something to be said about when you're in a dog-eat-dog environment, and you got somebody that's got your back, and you got somebody you can trust, and it's an uphill battle when you're at these tryouts, and it's a weird environment. It's I've given a few advice on players approaching it, but there's nothing like having somebody that gives you that bit of familiarity and allows you to be you, and you can help them be them on the court. So
yeah, I mean, especially in this profession, teams get 1, 2, 3 imports, depending on what league, what country. So you have one chance, like you said, you got to take it. It's not going to happen often. There's new players coming in every year. There's vets. There's guys who want that one chance, who are going to give it all. So having that familiarity definitely, I think it helps also with the nerves and stuff. Because you go in there, you're like, look, this is one chance. So you're playing with your teammate, you've known them for years. That's definitely something that's very helpful that other guys probably didn't have. The fact that you weren't selfish, even nowadays, we've seen you play over here for a while now. That's not your game. It's trying to make yourself look good. You make yourself look good by playing as a team. Talk about, your experience here in Australia since. Obviously last year was my first year in Australia, but I watched you at McKinnon. You guys won the championship. You were MVP, finals MVP. In the offseason, you went to the U.S. and played against NBA teams, as part of the Melbourne United program. So just, share a lot about this. You got a lot going on here since you've been here. Dive into it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, my first year with Tigers, this is my first year playing pro, so I didn't really know what to expect. But I noticed that the basketball here it's gritty. It's the game can sometimes be choppy. It can have a bit of a different cadence, a different flow to it. And the funny thing is, for a guy like me, obviously I use my athleticism. I try to be, a physical presence on the court. And as you alluded to, which I appreciate it, being having an unselfish approach, which I never really thought twice about. It's just kind of how I played the game. But in terms of that physicalityness and that choppiness, like I love that. I was probably doing that too much in college, so it was nice to come to Troy and rough it up a bit with a few of the guys here. And I had a good year. And then McKinnon, has been a blessing for me. I know after my year with the Tigers that there were a few opportunities on the table after my first year. And, I remember when I first met with McKinnon, it was, I spoke with Axel Dench, who was the center on the team then. And, he was telling me about the culture and, the gyms, the coaches, and, it was so many things to build on. And, I spent 4 years with the club. In my first year here, we were, it was like the third year into being state champ, top level Big V. And, fast forward and, we're champions. We had the best record in Big V history last season, only 2 losses. And, we swept through the finals, and, it was an awesome team, an awesome experience. And, in the meanwhile, that whole time in that off season, I was able to train with United and just, be a part of the club, a part of their preseason, and, get to know the guys. And for me, I was really just looking for a place to play during the time. And, I got put in a few group chats and called, and, they'd asked me to come around and, be a boost to their preseason workouts. And, I ended up finding some success and, a couple of years of that. And, I found myself knowing a bit of the offense and a bit of the schemes more than some of the guys that they were signing. So I kind of became a part of the family. And, with injuries opening up an opportunity last season, just as we spoke about, in regards to that tryout in America before coming here, it's just timing and chance and, being ready when an opportunity is presented. And, I was ready to go. And I remember Dean Vickerman calling me and saying, it's looking like we're going to need you for, week 1. And, it's Phoenix and at Perth. And I'm thinking to myself, it's on. I didn't expect it to come this quick, but, it's 2 days out, from the Phoenix game. And I'm like, but it's on, and it was an exciting time. And playing at Perth, I can't remember. I played, I think I played like 16 minutes, 15 minutes out there. And it was our championship banner night. So it was packed house. And, we were 1 shot away. They had a game-winning shot, but, we 1 shot away from having a big win out there. And, that was an awesome environment. And just being a part of, such a big NBL game and getting that NBL experience and, kind of reaching that level for the first time in a game like that. And then, next thing you know, we're flying over to LA, and, that's a dream come true. There's no question about it. A few years prior, I was able to live the dream for the first time playing against Oklahoma City with United. And, Carmelo Anthony has always been my favorite player. LeBron's my favorite player now, by the way, but Carmelo has always been, like an idol to me. I've just loved how he carried himself, and I thought he was always, such a versatile player, and, he's just a fun guy to watch. And he's from Maryland as well. It's close to where I'm from, and being able to guard him for a few possessions and even, exchange our pregame ceremonial stuff with him was a dream. Playing with Paul George and Russell, obviously those are dreams come true as well. And then, now fast forward to just back last year. Now, I already had that experience under my belt. So I was thinking this time, when I get in, I'm going to make something happen. I'm ready now. I'm not wide-eyed. I'm ready to compete. And, as soon as I got in against the Clippers, I think it was just my first possession in, I hit a three and man, that feeling was like family there in LA. I was able to fly them there and meet me there. So, it's just a dream come true. There's no higher stage in the NBA, and we all dream of playing on an NBA court when you're younger. Everyone who's a basketballer has envisioned himself playing on an NBA court. Whether wearing an NBA uniform, but I got that experience with an elite club like United, and playing against the Kings as well was an awesome thing. Something I'll never forget. So hopefully one of more to come.
All this because your teammate convinced you to go on a bus or a carpool trip to Indianapolis, and now he's Carmelo.
I went from a chauffeur to guard Carmelo. Exactly.
What a story. So what's up? With the future. I know you signed in NBL 1 now, so I know that's a big step. I mean, going from state champ to NBL 1 just helps you keep growing in your game as well as preparing in the off season. So what's the plan moving forward? Is the opportunity to be full-time with Melbourne United on the horizon? When can we expect to see you playing there, full-time?
I think it's on the horizon. I'm doing, with obviously we were hit pretty hard this preseason. Obviously 2020 as a whole has been hit pretty hard, but, that's a story for another day. But, I was putting cards in place and the club as well. And, we've had the setback of, not being able to train and, a later start date for the season. So, we'll have to kind of revisit that in the weeks to come. Hopefully the season still begins December, possibly January, but nonetheless, hopefully I'll be on the court come the start date of the season. And in regards to, that's the secondary season or the off season, I guess you could say, NBL 1. Yeah, I was, this would be playing right now, right, in a championship, I'd like to think, but I was happy to play at a bigger stage. McKinnon, I enjoyed every bit of it, and as soon as NBL took over, what was the Siebel, right, took over those clubs, kind of gave them a bit of a boost, and the league presented itself so well, and I know I can compete with those guys because I play with them all the time, and I was just thinking to myself, I think it's time to make that move. So, in regards to the NBL 1, we'll see how we go next season, and NBL, we'll see how we go when the time comes. So, for me, as we were talking about a little bit earlier, just staying in shape and trying to do as best you can within a 5K radius, do as best as you can lawfully, in 2020, and just being prepared for the next thing.
Okay. How are you, able to stay in shape as this, season might be here? If things go to plan, as you said, December, there will be a start date. How are you preparing as best you can during this time period? I know Melbourne United, you guys were hit hard a couple months ago with 14 players on the team getting tested positive for COVID. So that kind of definitely derailed a bunch of, the preparation, the planning. So what are you doing in the meantime as you, wait and see?
Well, luckily I had some, I had a few weights, many weights at the house, and I was tempted to just go ahead and sell it on the Facebook Marketplace because weights are going at about 4,000 times their market value. But yeah, man, just doing the weights at home, and I've been running and trying to get my cardio back up. Being inside, it's not healthy for the athlete. It's not healthy for the mind either. So getting outside when you can. Obviously, the weather's been getting better, so it's been promoting and creating a bit of energy, which I've been capitalizing on. But it's really just mentally staying engaged. I'm sure for anyone watching, and I speak for myself. I know we all have our highs and lows and ups and downs of 2020, and you kind of have to lean on people close to you, whether you're physically with them in the same household or you're speaking via some device, but you kind of have to lean on others and be support, and hopefully they can be the same support for you. But it's definitely been a trying year and a challenging year, but I've been able to keep my body in good shape and keeping my mind sharp. I watch so much basketball, man. I've probably watched every game I've played in since college already. During this time, I've been my harshest critic, and I've also been my biggest fan because I don't have film sessions, so I go through a film session with myself. So I feel like I had some games recently I've been watching so much. So just staying engaged mentally and physically, and we all know that yes, this has all changed the world, for some time to come, but there will be a time when we return to basketball and return to sport. We're a bit in a shell in Victoria. They've already returned to sport in other states, so we're right on the horizons of getting right back to it. So all the reason to up the energy right now.
Yep. What is some advice you'd give, kids, younger athletes who have the dream of making it professional? Everybody's got a different road. For some kids, it's going to be smooth sailing because they're going to be high prospects and they're going to sign deals pretty easily. Other guys, will be like you and me, where you got to find your way in and then make it work. What would you suggest to people who have that desire to make basketball, their job one day?
Yeah, I've had this conversation with some people from my hometown. Between me and my brother, there hasn't been too many people who've been able to play professional sports. So I've had these same conversations at my school, and now being a coach, I probably haven't mentioned this yet, but I coach rep basketball, and I've coached every year since I've been out here, and I enjoy it, and I love that process, and I love preparing a team, and I love being a big brother to the kids I coach. So one thing that I've always said is have respect for your teammates, have respect for your coaches, and if you approach every practice or every training or every game the right way, and if you approach it with that a bit of humbleness and confidence, but you also mix it with just the pure joy of being in that moment at that time, then you'll get so much out of it. You don't want to look too far ahead. You don't want to live in the past. You want to set goals for yourself, but you obviously also want to just be in that moment, in that game, in that training, and get as much out of it as you can. And you, before you know it, you'll realize that you begin to build a few blocks in order. You begin to build a few stepping stones where you put yourself in a position where hopefully some things can come, whether that be a club opportunity or a university opportunity in America or different things like that. But yeah, you use your connections, use your resources, of course. There's a lot about connections, but just staying ready and being in those moments when the time comes, being ready to take it, bull by the horns. So.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. Your story is probably one of the most exciting ones I've heard. From Division III recruit who made the team kind of based on his brother's recommendation after scoring 2 points to All-American.
It was a good dunk, though. It was a good dunk.
And
it was a good dunk.
So what's in store for the future? I know your partner's Australian. Are you looking at staying here long term and settling down? Do you get to go back to the U.S. much and spend time with your family? What's next?
Yeah, my partner's Australian. She she plays basketball as well, and she played junior college in America for a short time and came back and went to school when she got back here. But for us, our life is here. Our life is here in Australia, and I've been so fortunate. I've been able to take my mom out here, and she loved it, and we extended her trip while she was here. Things were so enjoyable, and it's actually being here has actually made me a bit closer to some of my family. Unfortunately, I lost my father when I was in college, and that was a moment that kind of gave me a bit of inspiration that he's living through me now, and I gotta take them with me. I gotta get on, I gotta do something that I love and have him live through me. And it's brought me closer to my mother. It's brought me closer to my brother. And even though we're far away, we probably speak more than, some family members do who live right down the street from each other. And that's kind of how it goes sometimes. But, I usually make it home earlier. I used to go home probably twice a year. Now it's probably around, one time a year. But nonetheless, I look at, setting up a bit of shop here. So, we're in a beautiful place in Melbourne, and we're in a beautiful country here. So, I look at the growth of basketball here, and I kind of want to be a piece to that puzzle of where it's headed.
I've definitely been a big piece to Melbourne. I know in the short time I've been here, Dillon Stith has been a name that's been thrown around hundreds of times in conversations. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity to talk with you about it and hear your story. The cool thing is it's only getting started. I look forward to seeing, what's next. Hopefully you'll be on an NBL roster full time for the rest of your career, where we can watch you, play on Friday and Saturdays for years to come. Definitely enjoyed watching you last year a little bit. So it's an exciting journey. It's, even more exciting now that I know the beginning, how it started and where it's going. So I appreciate your time here today.
I appreciate you, man. We've obviously had, many conversations, when we've hooped together, and I love hearing your story too. And I love, speaking with you, a fellow basketballer, and somebody who approaches the game right, and you're doing something awesome here. You're sharing stuff and providing a platform for, guys like myself and others who are going to watch it to share stories and realize that, there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot of things that can be done in the sport of basketball if, you go about it the right way. And, you're a prime example of that. So I appreciate you for having me, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Can't wait till this is all over. We get to see you back on the court soon.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Talk to you.